It's a show like no other. The 30th annual Diva Simply Singing Concert and Telethon, presented by Sheryl Lee Ralph and the Diva Foundation. A star-studded event raising awareness for HIV/AIDS. Performances by Jennifer Lewis, Layla Hathaway, Anthony Hamilton, and more. Benefiting Project Angel Food and Better Brothers LA. Diva Simply Singing, powered by Gilead. Saturday at 7 on KTLA 5, LA's very own.
Honestly, we should have used a condom, but we got distracted.
Honestly, we've been together for a while, so...
Getting tested never really crossed my mind.
I know I should get tested for HIV, but honestly...
I'm afraid to find out.
Honestly, I should ask him about his HIV status, but...
What if he gets weird about it?
Honestly, no one wants to think about HIV, but there are things that everyone can do to help protect their sexual health.
It starts with condoms and getting regularly tested for HIV and other STIs, so you know your status.
And talk honestly with a healthcare provider about your sexual health and all your prevention options.
If you're HIV negative, you and your healthcare provider can decide if PrEP may be right for you. PrEP means taking prescription medicine every day to help lower your chances of getting HIV.
And be honest with your partner. Talk to them about their HIV status. When you do, it can help you both be more protected.
I'm gonna get tested and find out about all of my prevention options.
Because honestly,
Honestly,
Our health is worth protecting.
And I know where my voice belongs.
December 20th, 1981. I made my Broadway debut in what has become the iconic musical of the 80s, Dreamgirls. Okay, actually, that's not true. To tell the truth, I made my Broadway debut in one of two flops that were just too disastrous to mention. And so we go with Dreamgirls. Dreamgirls for me was the best and the worst of all times. Now, the best, of course, was being the belle of the ball on Broadway. Oh my God, we ended every night with the kind of applause that let you know that you were loved, really, truly loved. Oh. Couldn't get a cab once the curtain came down, but that's a whole nother story. They were good times. Getting nominated for the oh-so-prestigious Tony Award, gracing the cover of Ebony magazine, and sharing the stage each and every night with some of the greatest talents of a generation. Talent that included Loretta Devine, Jennifer Holliday, Debbie Burrell, Obaba Batunde, Cleavant Derricks, and the wonderful Ben Harney. Incredible talents. Those were the best of times. The worst of times was when men, and a few women, but gay men mostly, up and down the Great White Way, that's what they call Broadway. It's because of all the lights, the lights at a time before they became colored, they were white. So the Great White Way of Broadway, men just started dropping dead. They were sick today and dead tomorrow. Sick today, dead tomorrow. Some of them got sick. They developed those strange purple marks on their bodies, and they died. See, there was no dying process, not like the one that we had gotten used to. They just got sick and they died. And then there was a deadly silence that fell over their passing because nobody wanted to talk about that gay disease. Nobody wanted to talk about it, much less do anything about that gay disease. And I stood witness to what I called such an ugly time in America, a time when good people Kind people, people of all religions, faiths, and belief, found it easy to just turn their backs on their children as they lay sick and dying. Good people who found it easy to just dump their sick children off on church stair steps like bags of used clothing for a rummage sale. People found it easy to point fingers and pass judgment, saying that's what they get. That's what they deserve. God will take care of them. Such an ugly time in America. And when your friends went to a hospital because they were just that sick that they needed the care of a hospital, nurses and hospital administrators, they were hostile and they were afraid. At that time, 40 years ago, they wore their fear like armor. They were afraid of those strange purple marks. They were afraid of it all. And some doctors even refused to give treatment, saying, "Why would you send me a patient like that?" Oh, yeah. Such an ugly time in America. Now, the lucky men, the ones that still had a place that they could call home, they would leave their life on Broadway and they would return to people and places that they had run away from. If you were lucky and they made their transition, sometimes their people would send you a note letting them know that they had died of pneumonia, cancer, bronchitis, anything other than that gay disease. The silence at times was just heartbreaking and oddly deafening. Death and silence went hand in hand, and silently that mysterious disease, it just blew the life out of Broadway like candles on a birthday cake. Just like that. Funeral after funeral, memorial after memorial. Such an ugly time in America. I remember when it used to be called GRID, gay-related immune deficiency disease, which eventually became HIV // depending upon whether you are a person or a computer, AIDS. And it's very interesting, but that G became an H. G became an H, which means gay became human. Gay became human, and that is so sad because it always was. 40 years into this disease, 40 years. I can hardly believe it. And I'm still shocked at how much people don't know or don't want to know still about HIV, AIDS. How there are still people, women of color, pick one, anyone, okay, Black women in the South are still one of the fastest rising groups to contract HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. I know some people still find it complicated. They don't realize that HIV is one thing, AIDS is another thing. Sometimes they just think it's HIV, AIDS, one great big old alphabet of a disease. Still, Sometimes you think to yourself, wow, if people would just talk about it more, maybe we could erase things like stigma. Maybe people would talk about it more. But still, the secret carries on. And a lot of people. AIDS, November 7th, 1991, Magic Johnson. Yeah, not a gay man. He announced that he had HIV, the virus, not AIDS, the disease. But Magic looked so good, people would always say. And back then you'd have to remind people that absolutely, because one, he has access to what many people 40 years ago did not have access to, and that was health care. They didn't have access. They also didn't have access to the kind of medication that Magic had access to at that time. And of course, a wealthy, powerful, athletic man with platinum healthcare. Platinum healthcare, not good. Platinum healthcare, not good healthcare, like most people at that time wish they had. Oh no, platinum healthcare. And quiet as it's kept, Magic did something very important early in his disease. Magic got tested. Something we still, 40 years later, must encourage people to do. Get tested. Know your status. If you can have a green footprint, you can have a sexual footprint. Get tested. Testing's come such a long way, just like medication has come such a long way in 40 years. Just do it for yourself. Because you see, if people were to actually take testing seriously, wow, now that would be something. If people, once they knew their status, actually got themselves on proper medication, wow, wouldn't that be something? If people actually used a known barrier to stop the disease from entering your body, a condom, each time, every time, wow, wouldn't that be something? Who knows? You might be the one to live an HIV negative life or have undetectable HIV levels similar to Magic Johnson. But the messed up part is most people don't get tested. And still most people don't know that they are infected. And still there are quite a few people across this country who do not have access to adequate health care of any kind. And by the time they do get care and start taking medication of any kind, HIV has already gone about its business of destroying their immune system and has become AIDS. It was back in 1995, AIDS. Rapper Eazy-E died of AIDS. Not the virus, not HIV, but the disease, AIDS. Yes, the founder of NWA. You know what it stands for, and if you don't, you better ask somebody. Ask somebody. Eazy-E, whose real name was Eric Wright, died of AIDS-related complications at the age of 31. In announcing that he had AIDS, it's March 16th. Eric Wright said that he did not know how he got this disease, but he wanted his friends and his family to know that I have learned that this AIDS thing is very real and it does not discriminate. I have learned, he said, that this AIDS thing is very real and it does not discriminate. 9 years later, in the summer of 2004, Phil Wilson, founder of the Black AIDS Institute, invited me to accompany him on some speaking engagements across the country to talk about HIV and AIDS in a few cities where AIDS was not the front page story. AIDS was not on the radar. AIDS was not being talked about, especially not the rising rate of AIDS infection in women of color. Like I said, pick a color, any color, okay, Black. Black and brown women were becoming infected in numbers too large to believe. And that summer, whoa, I, who thought I knew something about HIV and AIDS, I heard so many stories, so many women's stories, women and children's stories, infected and affected by HIV, stories laced with violence, sexual exploitation, rape, poverty, drugs, mental illness, low self-esteem, deceit. So many well-kept secrets wrapped in the deadly silence. Once again, women now were silently dying of AIDS. And nobody was saying anything. Nothing. Not even the women themselves. AIDS in America had jumped from men to women, and women were all alone. And that's when I made up my mind. That's when I made up my mind that if nobody was going to say something, then somebody had to. Because you see, I've always felt that if sex could be death from men, women couldn't be far behind. Because see, there's a natural connection between us. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I may not be your lover, but I am definitely your mother. Maybe your sister. And if you're lucky, I'm your friend. We are connected, male and female, mother and son, brother and sister, and our sister stories had been silent for too long. Silent for too long. Another thing happened that summer. Globally, the number of new HIV infections among women began matching that of men. Women's infections were slowly matching that of men. Now, this suggested that the burden of HIV/AIDS would be increasingly borne by women. Born by women. I mean, life is usually born of women. Not this. Not this. I thought to myself back to the day when gay people became sick and tired of being marginalized, and they organized and they strategized and they told their stories. They protested in the streets. They came up to their state's capitals and they let their feelings be known. They said out loud, I don't care what you think about me or my sexual preference. I too am a tax-paying American. I too pay taxes in America, and I need your help now. And that's exactly what they got. And in watching and hearing this, I found my voice, and I decided that I was going to say something for my sisters. And so I began the process of collecting and writing my sisters' stories down. But I soon realized, oh, this was not going to be easy. I was going to need some help. So I consulted my Bible. Oh, yes, I did, because I'm like that. See, I don't care if you read the old part or the new old part. It's a good book. And there's something in it for everybody. And as I was going through that Bible, I came across Jeremiah 8:14, which states, "Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves. We looked for a time of health, and behold, trouble. The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people not recovered? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people not recovered?"
There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. Oh, there is a balm in Gilead to save a sick soul. If you cannot preach like Peter, if you cannot preach like Paul, oh, you can't take the love of Jesus. You, oh, must say he died for us all. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to save a sick soul.
The beginning. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Well, I was once told that when you're about to start something, the best place to start is at the beginning. But I'm confused as to where the beginning is. The beginning. Was it the day that I was diagnosed with AIDS? Let's skip that. The beginning. Was it the year I was named Entrepreneur of the Year and my company was spotlighted as the one to watch? Now that was a great beginning, but it didn't last very long. The beginning. Was it the day my husband left me because I didn't die? I guess my living didn't fit into his schedule of playing the role of a dutiful husband to a dying wife. Especially since he was HIV negative, making me the diseased one. The beginning. Was it the morning I woke up with this hump on my back? Or was it the yeast infections that seemed to go on and on and on? The beginning. Maybe it was the day that I shit all over myself in a very exclusive 5-star restaurant. Well, since that's just about as low as you can go in front of people, let's begin there. A beautiful day and I'm feeling good. No headache, slight itch in my crotch, but I could work with it. So I got dressed. I'm usually a size 8. Now I'm a size 4, headed to that oh-so-glamorous supermodel 0. Oddly enough, I've always wanted to be a size 4. Just an example of being careful what you wish for, you just might get it. You know, losing weight was one thing, but losing it and having it redistribute over my body, making me look like a hybrid female Russian Olympic football playing swimmer, I hate it. But I am a size 4. Just what I always wished for. Dressed impeccably in my brand new winter white Chanel suit. Well, not exactly brand new. I bought it at one of those upscale resale shops, but I look brand new in it. My Chanel handbag, however, is brand new and real. I mean, for real. For real. No fakes here. With no children, a home I own. I mean, really own. It was one of the smarter things I did when I was younger. I bought an old brownstone in the bad section of town. I renovated it, and 20 years later, it's a great section of town, and my home is worth 10 times what I paid for it. So every now and then, I can afford to buy myself something special, like a real Chanel pocketbook and lunch in one of the city's best restaurants. I called to make a reservation at one such restaurant. The kind I used to take my clients to when I wanted to impress them, when I really needed to seal the deal. My lucky day, they have a table for me. I'm feeling good. I can think clearly. My stomach is not upset. My head doesn't hurt much. I actually feel happy. Something I haven't felt for a long time. Not since that day I found out that I was positive. God, every time I say that, even now after all these years, I just want to. But I'm not going there today. Because I feel good. So I slip on my classic beige and black Chanel pumps, the ones that I bought at that outlet they used to have down in New Orleans. God bless New Orleans. Imagine a $700 pair of shoes that I got for $100. A buy like that can make a girl feel better in the time it takes to say, charge. I finished dressing and walked myself to the garage. I feel good, and you know, it's funny the things you take for granted. Dressing yourself, feeding yourself, driving yourself. Just sitting in my beautiful car that sat untouched for so long made me feel better, because I was sure I was going to die and never live the good life again. I was surprised that it still had that new car smell. Anyway, there I was, driving it with the top down for all the world to see me, looking good and feeling good. I valet park, and just standing in front of the restaurant makes me feel like I've accomplished a lot, because I feel good. Even with the hump on my back and what seems to be a disappearing neck, I swear I'm looking more like SpongeBob every day. But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that, because today is a good day. I strut into the restaurant like I used to, with my head held high and every eye on me. They remember me and greet me like an old friend, like when I didn't need a reservation. When I just show up and a table was set for me at a moment's notice, because I had it like that. I was walked to my table and seated. I exhaled and took it all in. Beautiful music played, beautiful people ate, beautiful sun shining through the glass ceiling. Beautiful flowers blooming, although they had been cut off and placed in a beautiful vase, destined to die. But they were going to die anyway. So what's the difference? The difference is dying sooner than later. All things in time. Time to take my medicine, strict schedule, and my medicine must be taken on time, best taken with food, hence the lunch. So many pills, so many pills. I began to flush my meds down with the expensive sparkling spring water, and I feel good. There's a slight rumbling in my stomach. No big deal. Slight is a good thing. It's when it becomes a public explosion of flutterance that cannot be helped. Y'all, when I fart. Now that's a problem. The first course arrives. A lovely arugula and endive salad topped with sugared walnuts and a mellow blue cheese crumble sprinkled on top. No dressing, a little bit of salt, more pepper, and it's good. It probably would be better if I had that dressing, but nah, we don't take chances like that. The couple next to me talks about their children in between and around joint business deal, how much money they will make together. How nice. How nice. Make money together, live together, procreate together. I used to dream about such things. It seems so long ago. The waiter smiles at me. The handsome gentleman across the room smiles at me too. The attention feels good, like back in the day before I got married, when you could meet someone over lunch, skip the dessert, and the two of you end up together for a little afternoon delight. You and a perfect stranger get it on. And then you go your separate ways. Plenty of movies have been made about such activities, and I enjoyed the time I spent starring in my own personal shorts. Now, I'm not promiscuous, just sexually liberated. I just never knew that sex would be or could be not good for me or kill me. Not a woman like me. But I have learned that knowledge and understanding are two different things. Knowledge is knowing what you need to do, like use a condom each and every time you have sex, especially with a perfect stranger. Understanding is being diagnosed with AIDS and realizing that knowing you should have used a condom each time, every time, was not enough. It was something that had to be done. Understand? My head hurts. My stomach hurts. The young waiter places an elegantly plate of salmon in front of me. I eat. It tastes as good as it looks. No sooner than I swallow, my stomach is in a knot. I feel that familiar feeling that lets me know that I have to go to the bathroom now. As I stand up and walk myself to the ladies' room, I feel my insides loosening. I cannot help myself. I cannot hold it. And with every step I take, I am shitting all over myself. With every dirty little step I take, my bowels are letting it all hang out for all to see. I want to disappear. I open the bathroom door and see myself in the mirror. I cannot recognize myself. Dazed, confused, embarrassed beyond belief. I don't know what to do next. So I take off my La Perla panties and I rinse them out in the toilet bowl and I wipe the shit off and I try to clean up. I clean up the floor, clean up my shoes, clean my suit, clean myself. I try to clean it all up, but I can't. I cry. I pray. I thank God that I am alone and no one comes into the bathroom. I get myself together. I get myself together the best I can. I can still smell the shit as I walk back into the restaurant. I take a crisp $100 bill out of my Chanel handbag and I place it on the table. I walk out of that restaurant the same way I walked in, with my head held high and all eyes on me. I walked past the beautifully dying flowers and out of the restaurant into the shining sun. Acknowledging the end of a good day.
All with me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me while I'm on this pilgrim journey. I want Jesus to walk with me. Be my friend, Lord, be my friend. Be my friend, Lord, be my friend while I'm on this long pilgrim journey. I want Jesus to walk with me.
It happened with the quickness. I'm walking across campus and this kid snatches my bag and runs. I ran right behind him, but he didn't know that I was an NCAA gold medal winning sprinter, so I could run him down. He dropped my bag when I got too close, and when I picked it up, I realized I was in the middle of the kind of poverty I could never have imagined to be in the United States, much less so close to the campus that I had lived on for the past 3 years. How could it be right here and I not know about it? How could I have been so blind? I mean, my plans were set. After graduation, I was going to put in a few years of service in the Peace Corps, helping to build schools and develop early education programs for orphans and abandoned children somewhere on the other side of the world. Here I am getting ready to leave my country to help some other country when my own backyard could use a little help. Well, okay, a lot of help. So I decided right then and there that I had to do something right here at home. It was a quick walk back to campus where I immediately began soliciting the help of some of my classmates to tutor, teach, and share what we had learned at the university with the community next door. We went door to door to introduce ourselves and our idea for the program to people in the hood. Some of them looked at us like we were crazy. Some of them slammed doors in our faces. Some were happy to see us. And a few even cussed us out. But hey, we were on a mission. A like-minded professor worked it out so that we had a dedicated classroom to help rebuild the community. From 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock each evening, we began our after-school program. The program really quickly became more than an academic experiment. It was life-changing experience for all of us. Some of these children, teenagers, baby mamas, baby daddies, just needed someone to talk to. And we were right there. We were young, and it felt good to think that we were actually making a difference in their lives. We applied for a grant, which required those in the program to undergo a physical examination and anonymous health testing. We got the grant. We learned that most of these kids had only been to the emergency room and never had a real visit with a doctor. As a result of the program, they all got their first visit to the dentist and eye doctor too. We were all shocked when we got the health results and they came back that our group showed a disproportionate amount of untreated STIs and STDs among the teens and young women. Included in those results were cases of HIV. That was the tipping point. I realized that this program wasn't just about reading, writing, and arithmetic for these kids. They had to be educated about life choices on a much larger scale. At the estimated rate of infection, more kids were at a higher risk of contracting HIV/AIDS and other STDs than being a victim of gang violence. In our consultations, I learned that most of these kids knew that condoms were a barrier against STIs and STDs, just like now, where most people know a mask is a barrier against contracting COVID-19, and yet so many people choose not to do it. I realized that these kids could wipe themselves out by simply having unprotected sex, and nobody was going to say anything about it. Sometimes I cry when I think about that semester in college. I was on a completely different road, and I found myself here. I am now the executive director of my own 501c3 nonprofit corporation. I just completed my master's degree and in the process of completing my degree in public health. And I'm still just a few blocks from the university. That small classroom I started at is now a 5,000 square foot building, which includes an early childhood development program, prenatal care, nurse practitioners, visiting doctors and dentists, GED literacy programs, and suits for sisters looking to step up. Now, it has not been easy, but what did not kill me has made me strong and wiser too. I can see that the health house is on fire and we are all in it. COVID-19, all cancers, diabetes, hypertension, HIV, health disease, obesity, all of these are having a deadly impact on the people of color. One of the groups hit hardest are Black women. If we were to just consider HIV, over 40 million people around the globe are living with HIV/AIDS, and 1 million are right here at home in the United States. Who are all of those people who didn't think it could happen to them, to us? Who are my sisters who didn't know how to put themselves and their health first? So many of my sisters, friends, aunties, nieces, mothers, young and old, gay, straight, transgender, and some even mentally challenged are in this health crisis. So many of these numbers keep rising every day. Yes, sometimes I cry. We all cry sad tears, hurt tears, angry tears, ashamed of ourselves tears. Sometimes I cry tears of joy when women graduate from my program after learning how to put herself first and learning her own worth and value of her good health. My sisters, we have got to speak up for ourselves. We have got to take action for ourselves, because if we don't, who will? I have run the road less traveled, and it has made all of the difference for me.
May the Lord God bless you real good. May the Lord God bless you real good. He woke you up this morning, started you on your way. May the Lord God bless you real good. May the Lord God bless you real good. May the Lord God bless you real good. Say, He woke you up this morning, started you on your way. May the Lord God bless you real good.
My name is Miss Calypso, and I am fabulous. Let me tell you something. I am the keeper of unlawful carnal knowledge. And I revel in it like a bacchanal queen. I am an island woman, and the rhythms of Africa, India, China, and Scotland too. Although you can't see it, they wrap themselves around me always, and I wear them proudly because I am fabulous. Don't hate me because I am fabulous and know it. I have worked hard at this fabulosity you see before you. Take a good look. Front side and back side. I am fabulous. You know I am. Anyway, I love my island. The food, the people, the rum, the music. Oh, the beauty of my island. But my island doesn't love me. I am a strong, independent woman who is happy with herself, just as she is. And some folks on my island have a problem with that. I don't know why. I did what was expected of me. I married, had 3 children. Count them. 1, 2, 3. They have grown into wonderful, compassionate human beings who make me proud. Somehow when your children are all right, you know that something about you is all right too. I was never happy being married. I felt trapped, confined. I was always flirting with disaster. Sex outside of marriage on the island is normal, almost expected. It is an accepted behavior, destructive, but accepted. Everybody has sex with everyone. Some even have outside children in other families, hence the song Shame and Scandal in the Family. You daddy ain't you daddy, but you daddy don't know. Or that girl is you sister, but your mama don't know. It's also common. Nobody really speaks about it. Shh. Then there is the West Indian divorce, where the couple stays married, but one partner lives on island and the other lives foreign, like Florida, New York, or London. I chose jolly old London. Yes, I did. No one knew me there. And as the subject of the Queen, the door was open and I walked in. London fit me like a strong suit. Even if the food was terrible, the people were grumpy and the city cold and gray, but something in me came alive. The real me took life. I had nothing to hide, and I was happy. I opened a beauty salon barbershop with a boutique in the back. That's right. I had 3 jobs. Count them. 1, 2, 3, and business took off. Yes, I was happy. Really, truly happy. Business was so good, so I started traveling, seeing the world, and I discovered Thailand. Thailand. I love the food. I love the people. I love the nightlife. All of it fabulous, just like me. There was one trip that changed my life, let me tell you. The winter has set in London, and those who could escape did to places like Ibiza, Barbados, or just sat in front of their fireplace and enjoyed it. I went off to Thailand with friends. Yes, I did. We shopped, we ate, and we clubbed. Yes. I still don't remember how I ended up there that night, but as the doors opened and I walked into this dimly lit club, the shadowy figures welcomed me like an old friend. Loud, pulsating music caressed my ear, beckoning me to the dance floor as it seemed to cast a spell on all who dared to enter, glowing, flashing, and sparkling. I got on the dance floor and joined the bodies crushed up against me as each beat of the loud rhythm seemed to be gently but forcefully push its way into my body and pulsate, lingering just long enough before the next beat ended, going just a little bit deeper into my body, into my soul, deeper, deeper. So deep down low, and it felt so good to be invaded that way. The rhythm picked up and I was compelled to match it beat for beat. I squeezed my muscles tightly as I moved with the rhythm to make the spell last longer. Tiny beads of sweat formed on my brow as I lost myself in the moment. Let me tell you something, finding a partner was easy, so easy. Together we danced, like we had known each other for years. So sweet, so down low. The hot, sticky darkness of the club oozed with sex as the bodies moved, jerked, and wrapped themselves around each other, holding, touching, lost in the music, going deeper, deeper, so deep. Mm. Mm. It felt so good to be held like that, so much better than I had remembered. Good to be kissed, that anonymous kiss, asking for nothing more than a moment's pleasure and sweet satisfaction, and I was satisfied. My spouse was never this good. I felt free, like the self I longed to be, and I was happy to dance all night with someone who wanted exactly what I wanted, to be touched, to be kissed, to be understood, to make contact, skin on skin. Contact was made without a word spoken between us, just like Audrey Hepburn. I could have danced all night. I could dance all night. I could have danced all night. I could have begged for more, but I didn't. I disentangled myself from the one I had been dancing with. I stepped off the dance floor, losing my partner, who had, by the way, found another in the crowd and never missed a beat. I don't even think he even realized that I was gone. Confused, I looked at the beautiful bodies, young, old, tall, short, hard bodies, even a few bodies soft with age, gyrating and enjoying the spell on the dance floor. All of them were beautiful in my eyes, so beautiful. I liked what I saw, but I was beginning to feel unhappy, sick inside, and down low. Frustrated, I slowly backed away from it all as the spell began to wear off. It was time to go home to my wife and leave the boys behind. Yes, my wife. I'll let that sink in a bit. Because if you knew me on my island, you knew me as Police Sergeant Vivienne Street James 5 to all my friends. I was named after my father. He was Vivienne too. And just like my father, I was born male. All man. But I'm a woman now. And I am fabulous. I am a transgender woman, aka the sweet Manjana. I am all woman and I have the receipts to prove it. The doctors in Thailand say that I am just about perfect, some of their best work. In many ways, I am more woman than most women. I have the grace of a woman and the power of a man. I have been all woman for 10 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, and I have loved every moment of it. And no, I do not miss my pipe, and I love my bags. I cannot imagine life with it or without them. I have had many surgeries to soften my nose, my jawline, to become the fabulous person I have always wanted to be. But I found out that I was HIV positive 3 years ago, after one of my post-op checkups. After routine blood work, my doctor asked me if I had had an HIV test. I hadn't, so I figured it was about time. So I did. 7 days later, when my doctor called me in to talk to me, I couldn't believe that he was telling fabulous me that I was HIV positive. On this day, my life changed again. My mind ran amok. I wanted to kill my fabulous self. Me. Fabulous me. Contemplating suicide. That's what he did to me. It made me not want to live. HIV stripped me of every new security I had gained in myself. It robbed me of my newfound womanhood. It took away my sensuality, my ambition, and my self-esteem. And in the months after my diagnosis, I started to prepare for my death, selling my clothes, my car, my business, until one morning, the woman I was selling my business to got hit by a car coming to sign the papers for the shop. And then he hit me that everyone is going to die sometime. Some sooner than others. At that moment, I decided I wasn't going to die from HIV. I was going to live with HIV. If I could endure the pain and the sacrifice to make the transition into womanhood, then certainly I could endure whatever it was going to take to keep me alive. I must live for those on my island who are unable to be themselves, like my friend who was assaulted at gunpoint, dragged from his home, bound and gagged, and they cut his throat. Then they cut off his penis and put it in his mouth, all for being a gay human being. They cut off his penis and put it in his mouth, all for being a gay human being. So I've decided to go home, back to my island with its well-earned reputation for homophobia and murderous violence against gay people, back to see my ex-wife, to talk to my children, to be home again. I am not an activist, but I must do my part, because I know that my little island will never defeat its AIDS epidemic. And it's a strong, silent, growing epidemic unless it takes some firm steps to combat its homophobia and ignorance in the people and the government of the people. Yes, I am going back home. And I don't know what I'll find. But I do know when you are one such as me, you must be bold. You must be extraordinary. And you must live your life out loud. You must be bold. You must be beautiful. You must be loud. And you must be proud.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I
The average baseball stadium holds about 50,000 people, enough